really can't get a job.
Because you're broke
Oh,
college
heck yeah,
student.
dude.
I'm watching it on my phone, bro.
Oh, that's.
Shh, don't tell him.
Great. Hello. We are. Ah.
We're just live on YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube people, I just want to introduce myself. I'm a person. I exist.
And I use your website.
Do you though?
That's true. I don't actually know.
How do you not know we're not simulations?
You can
I honestly wouldn't care because,
Yo,
It makes no difference.
yeah.
that's actually what I think about when I can't go to bed at night. I'm glad you brought that up, bro.
No.
But have you tried DMT?
It will bring you out of the simulation. And 3 easy steps. First, you get this.
It sounds like something Joe Rogan would be about. Yo.
Yeah.
All right. See ya.
Sure.
So, Josh is gonna fade you guys from black. Right now we're in black. And we're gonna go first to Ronnie and Lenny. You're gonna present yourselves and then it's gonna be to you guys. Yeah?
Sweet.
Sweet,
Alright. And good luck.
sweet.
I'm not gonna be.
I'm gonna need.
Are we gonna do the? Are we gonna show the intro at all?
I can't get
was
a
it there?
job.
Huh?
Was it there, the intro? I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it's in the podcast folder, in the hub
I can put it in.
folder.
Divorce. Why?
1 year.
Why does divorce exist?
What kind of animal do you
Besides to be able to
think
fuck
would
someone
like
else.
each kind of genre of music? Like, say, turtle with jazz,
Ooh, easily. Yeah.
lizard with.
I would also put the fox there too.
I actually would too.
No, the fox.
They're kind of
is
elegant. Or an owl.
EDM.
Oh.
I think more fox with disco, just because it's very foxy.
Dude, damn, I'm seeing a fox in like a
That's
white
very
suit.
classy fox.
I'm seeing so many foxes.
Yeah, so I think foxes just cross all genres. They're genreless.
So he's got intro.
But what does the
recorded.
fox say?
So we're gonna fade from intro to Ronnie and Lenny.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right,
Good?
let's do
Yes.
this.
Let me
Sweet.
get shit from the table because I'm pretty sure you guys don't need this stuff. Or this weep shit.
Oh,
I kind of liked it.
it was comforting.
Not the we though.
You guys are.
This is why we cannot nice things.
Hello.
Yeah. Huh?
I'll tell you, it's Ronnie.
It's Ronnie.
Me, Ronald McDonald's.
Hey, here, you're 3, right?
I'm talking.
Okay.
In the plugin, I say 4.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm 2.
Tests. Yes. Okay.
No, I'm not lucky. I'm blessed. Hey guys, this is the Hub Podcast. My name is Ronnie Watkins, and this is our second episode we've done. We're here to talk about some cool music things and the music we like and music that is interesting. And first off, on our left, we have.
I am Lenny, and I just really love music, so that's why I'm here to talk to you guys. Also, we have.
Oh yes, that's me. I'm Pierre, and I also like music, and I've listened to music a lot. And I'm here to also just give a different opinion. And on my left, we've got this homie.
Hey, what's up? I'm Will. I'm a musician, and I just love listening to everything possible. And I guess that's what this podcast is for. We're gonna be talking about every type of music, and even some weird topics that some people don't think associate with music. Which, Ronnie, you have one for us today, actually.
Yeah, dude. Okay. I have 2 topics that we should probably explore together. And
Yeah.
the first one is going to be how prison, the industry of prison, and how that might affect music and how artists might play into that. And the second one is about climate change and specifically things that humans may have done to harm the earth and how, again, how musicians are writing about that, how they think about it, and how they add that into the process of creation. But
Yeah, keeping things really light, for the second podcast.
I mean, with that being said, those are very real topics that we all have to deal with. So I think those are good topics to talk about. I feel like. So,
Let's
Well,
get
I hope I don't
into
have
it.
to deal with the jail part.
Yeah, that's true. True, true.
I love making
We could
music.
at
I
least,
don't
like,
want to go to jail.
Care and
yeah,
be there and listen and talk.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything's about being present in the moment. Not everything, but I feel like when I'm in the moment, we make great decisions. Not all the time, but when you trust yourself.
That's a good point.
Yes.
True. Yeah, just try at least.
It's very true.
Before that, I just had to bring up maybe some things that happen in the music world today that you might not have heard about.
Snaps.
Somebody was singing too loud in the moment and
Yeah, his
busted
name right here.
his testicle open.
Oh,
Yeah, that was Slipknot's Corey
Oh,
Taylor.
shoot.
Blew out his left testicle to be precise.
can they like
Well,
change sides though, or no?
Change. You mean
Nothing. Never mind.
Can the testicle
Specifically
flip
needs a
over to
left
the other side?
testicle transplant.
That is wild.
No, he was going like super at it, like singing wise. Like I guess it just tightened up, and yeah, I don't want to know about what happened to the rest, but it says he blew out. He blew it out.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, I see. I see.
And if anybody wants to talk about it, apparently the hashtags are Kiss of Death and hashtag Piss and Blood.
Why kiss of death?
Those are very specific hashtags. And why would?
Like I
who
get
would-
the
yeah.
second one. It sounds horrible, but the kiss of death.
Pretty metal.
I think it might be a Slipknot song.
Oh,
We're gonna have
okay,
to
sorry.
ask our expert
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
in the
yeah.
other room at some point.
My bad, because I didn't know that. But if that's why, that's dope. That's clever.
That's pretty metal.
That is, yeah. True.
Anything else you guys can think of that I mean, that's gotta be so.
got the Tyler new
Other
album.
than Woodstock's 50th anniversary.
Oh,
being
true, true, true.
canceled recently. I
AKA
think
Fire
that
Festival.
Yeah. They had a lot of. It was just very, very mainstream, and I heard that the day before they're asking for $20 million. Yeah, you referenced it yourself.
Chicken feed, dude, right?
Yeah, like
Just get a small loan for $1 million.
it's like
please.
it's not working, and we got all these artists. Well, the last Woodstock happened in Woodstock '99, and that was chaos. So I think you should just stop it there. Maybe in 100 years, in 2069.
Dude, that would be sick, actually.
Like just like Ray Sherman pulls out, they're 45 years old and they're playing like no flex zone. Everyone's just like, yo.
Hey.
That was so the knots whenever they start calling like the first decade instead of like the teens or the 20s. Would you call like the zeros the knots?
The knots, like 20 knot,
Yeah, if
20 knot.
Also, like,
1.
if on a 0 to 1 scale binary, 1 is yes and is no and not.
Is the no.
But okay,
Yes.
Before we continue, sorry, I just gotta talk about Igor.
Yes, yeah. I was thinking
what
that
happened
too.
there?
Like his album dropped and he had like hella fucking features in it, and I'm not sure I was supposed to cuss, but I'm just gonna leave it in
Yeah,
there.
you are.
Sorry, that means no sponsorships.
Hey, Tyler.
But yeah, Tyler's list is amazing. You know more about this than I.
I mean, we're both on the same page, but he listed on Instagram the features that he had on the album. And
Oh, really?
It's just like buttons, and I'm gonna pull it up right now so you guys can look at it.
Also, opinions. I like it a lot. It's a good album.
Yeah.
How many
That's only one
scorpions would you
opinion,
eat
that is
out of
not-
5? Would
How
you
many
give it?
scorpions would I eat out of 5? To listen to that album, dude, if the stingers were off, I would eat 5 scorpions. That's how
Damn.
good it is. Yeah.
Ooh.
Just no stingers, though.
With stingers?
With stingers,
Can you
Just
eat a
one?
scorpion?
Okay. So
Yeah, Tyler was known
I'm
for
gonna
eating
try
a scorpion.
I'm gonna try to point to the camera what's going on right here, but this is a list of features on the album. I'll let you guys look through it first.
Can you read it out loud?
oh yeah,
I'll,
Ronnie?
I'll
Gotcha.
let you read. Then these are just buttons.
So
on-
far, it's like a pink jacket with a bunch of buttons on it.
yeah. Explain in
Um,
detail for the audience.
A lot of pastels. I'm getting a lot of late 80s vibes. Jared Carmichael, LaRue, Kevin Kendricks, Charlie Wilson, CeeLo Green, Jack White. I just
Oh,
laughed
what?
at CeeLo Green, dude. Yeah, Jack White.
That's lit.
Solange,
If you
Lil
look
Uzi
at
Vert, Kanye
Instagram,
West, Pharrell, Slow Tie, Playboy Cardi. Oh,
That's the
good
picture
lord,
on the
dude.
left.
but
Alright,
CeeLo
if you-
Green's
no,
on this.
scroll up.
I know that's so
sick.
tight. And freaking Jack White.
Was Frank Ocean ever like
Scroll.
said to be actually on the album?
I don't know.
Frank Ocean is.
Didn't say on there.
That's such a cool.
Thank you, Juan, for
believe-
putting
I
it up.
believe he's on it.
A boy is a gun. We've come a far way.
Wow.
Earthquake. I
Happiness.
love that, dude.
Oh, he
Goodness.
revealed all the credits. That's
I-
amazing.
Dang, this is crazy.
Actually, this is Genius's collection of it. Most of it hasn't 100% been
No,
verified.
he put it up. By
Oh, he did himself.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. That must have been really
Okay,
recent.
I knew it. I knew he produced all of it. I was wondering. That's
Dang,
freaking
cool.
lit, dude. Dang.
Yeah, Earthquake has Playboy Cardi verse in it, and it's just like. I love Playboy Cardi though. I'm not trying to diss on him. I have all of his albums. on my
Ooh,
phone.
there now we can see.
Yeah, Playboy Cardi appears courtesy of AWGE/Interscope Records.
Dude, this is so cool.
Louis Vuitton appears on courtesy of Atlantic. Dude, he got. Oh, that's amazing.
Method,
he put
man.
it on there. Yo, Sony Music signed Rum DMC at the same time period I was talking about with the RCA thing.
Oh,
Sony
really?
Music also owns RCA. So not only were they doing stuff in Japan with RCA, they're doing stuff on Sony Music for a long time with Run DMC.
Mm-hmm.
The song Sucker MCs with Run DMC, both of them pretty much just explain how they got into the situation. It's in the song. But
Oh,
it's
that's
just
sick.
like on a boom bap beat where it's like it's a very basic 80s beat, but like that's literally the instrumental, and they just talk about like and putting in the Cadillac and then like all the stuff and like how the story of how they got into the place
Whoa,
where
the
they're at
heck?
today. It's like Kanye West Last Call, but it was like an 80s banger.
That's
It was
sick.
like 3 minutes long versus Kanye West 14.
Yeah.
True, true.
Yeah.
Dang, that's hot actually.
True.
These
Brand new
There's
stuff.
so many. I love it. Dude, I wish I can get to that point where I can just literally ask up any other musician I've ever thought about working with and be like, come in for a feature. I'm not going to tell anybody you work with me until like way down the line.
Yo, that one has Pharrell singing an Al Green song.
Wow.
Oh, that's
That's
dope.
crazy. That's gonna be really
Dang.
cool.
Good music / Def Jam recordings. I didn't know that Def Jam was a partial owner of Good Music, that Kanye West made that label. Because designer that made the song Panda is also, or was signed to Good Music.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like that one-hit wonder disease like you get with Lil Nas X. I wonder if he's going to make good music after this. I'm sure he will. But like, it's very interesting to see like labels, artists, and them.
Yeah. All right. So, just to bring up a change of time and place.
Time to
For
get a
this
little more
conversation?
serious.
Yeah, we're gonna get real deep. I'm just
Really?
kidding.
Alright.
No, we're just gonna talk about just something that I think is like a very well-known fact that isn't hidden from like the public's view, but just not a lot of people in the public that I know about this. So I thought it'd be interesting to bring up. Basically, like the prison industrial complex in America is a gnarly form of reduced wage labor, and like it's locking up a lot of disproportioned groups of people. But I think music can help us out of that, and I think people are already trying to do that as well with music, to like talk about the place that they've been and maybe like how it affected them. You know, it's better than just like ranting about it or
I think it's almost a criteria in the hip hop industry that you've gone through some stuff. Like Maxo Cream got famous literally about talking about the exact specific situations he was in with the law and like referencing. So when someone says, "Oh yeah, you're a real gangster," like "Toast my gangster," like 6ix9ine will say,
Mm-hmm.
like these people have actually been through this shit.
dang, what? Test
So-
my gangster.
That's I've never heard that.
The sad part is it can be used against them at the same time. Like there's actually a bunch of
definitely is.
artists that have gone to prison or are currently their albums are being used against them as evidence that's premeditated or
TK.
that they have some connections. Yeah, that was one of them. I think Lil Boozy, I think his name was. It was the same issue.
Who's
And
that? 06 Grado or something? That one guy who did a few
03
songs
Greedo.
with 03. 03's
Yeah.
Greedo. I heard he got like arrested on actual like meth charges. And
Wait,
he's gonna
what?
Be in prison for like a long time.
So did he like sing about meth or something, or what happened? Are you
I
not
would
allowed to sing
imagine
about
so.
meth?
No, you can sing
No,
about it.
he-
He just
kidding.
got caught like selling it,
Yeah.
probably
Oh,
being in the possession of it.
But like,
I'm sure he made songs.
I think of like gangster rap though, where it's all about like bragging or even fake storytelling of you being this gangster killer person, and then like let's say they find evidence that you may have been involved, like your music can be used against you, even though it's an art form,
yeah, totally.
which you don't like. You have Johnny Cash and like all these other people that talk. Even Queens, has a song that says, "Mama, I killed a man," but because he was not of darker skin. Like I feel like that's one of the reasons why it's used more against them than any other
The artist,
genre.
the artist Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. None of them actually killed someone, though.
But the thing is they use that as evidence that they did kill someone.
Well,
Like
okay, I
for
see what you're saying.
rappers and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Like the thing is like a lot of people are taking it literal.
That's how it's
and-
been for a while, though. I mean, like, maybe not in public atmosphere, but like, obviously, if these things happen on a public scale, what you've released will be, subjected to like
Mhm.
people looking at it. So some people connect the dots, like, well, this person actually did this shit. There's no way you can hide it. So obviously, you're just gonna have to either live with that decision or make different art where you're not.
True. Are there any examples of people who like? So they're talking about things that could maybe end you up in jail. But are there artists who talk about their experience when they're actually there?
Yeah.
A lot in the mainstream. That's how you get there.
Yeah.
And
No,
I would say that's not a negative thing at all.
you actually had you had a song in mind when we first came here of Johnny Cash performing in the prison.
Folsom Prison Blues.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like there's actually a few other artists that have spent time in jail. They've gotten out and even rapped about their time in jail. Like Martha Stewart, I'm pretty sure was one of them. Well, she talked with like Snoop
Made that
Dogg
thing
and
with
like that
Snoop.
kind of stuff. And
Yeah, I feel.
they both been in prison. They both talked about it, either through their art form, which
Yeah,
for Martha
yeah.
was that, but Snoop Dogg was his music.
Mhm.
But it's kind of crazy still that like, for a lot of artists, they even got signed in there. Like you were saying, I think you said it was Tupac or who
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
Tupac. Def Jam Records signed him, and
Death
they
Row.
did it like on a
Death
Death
Row
Row, yeah.
Records.
Yeah, Def Jam. Death Row signed him on the stipulation that he'll perform 3 albums for them, and then they'll bail him out of jail if he signs. So it's like
Oh, wait.
it's like a really double-edged sword.
Like he performs.
Like he has to
After
write
they
them
get
in
him out,
and
though,
perform
right?
them. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I was wondering if it was. Never mind.
It's very interesting though.
So he was on like sexual assault charges,
Yeah.
and it was like kind of convoluted. I guess the girl had been known to like see him that night and had consensual everything, and then left the hotel room that they were at, and I guess came back, and then
Pretty shady.
something went down to where charges were put up,
Mm-hmm.
but he got bailed out after a certain amount of sentence by basically like Suge Knight, who runs Death Row, and like he
That's
was
very
like, "Yo,
interesting. I
you
don't
got 3 albums on you.
They saw an opportunity and they took
I'll
it.
bail you out."
Damn.
Damn.
I don't want to get whole into Tupac conspiracy on
Yeah.
on the second podcast because I feel like it's for a different episode. But briefly, I'll go over it.
Do tell.
Apparently, Suge Knight and the guy on the East Coast, Puff Daddy.
Mm.
Are you aware of? Yeah. So they had like beef with Riley, and both of them were each affiliated with like the Bloods and the Crips consecutively, and both of them pretty much got both of each other's prospective artists killed just through beefing. Like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna release a diss track," but somebody from that era would be like, "Let's just kill him."
Damn.
That's literally what happened in both of their deaths.
Yeah,
That's
shit gets
crazy,
real.
dude.
Yeah.
That's sketch.
There's a couple other ones that see it was the manager. There's like so many different conspiracies. There's even some that Kendrick even talks about, which is that he's in Cuba. Like it's kind of crazy.
Pick
You
my
know.
dad, go to Cuba. That's the only option. Dude, yeah, that's crazy.
King Kunta, yeah.
Okay, so basically, I wanted to bring up this video that I found, and it's kind of like full of these stats that are completely true. I'm just kidding. No, I'm sure this like is a reputable YouTube channel that I watch many videos on, but this one's specifically about prisons and America and the population and the ratios of people that we have here in America compared to the prisons in other countries. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I hear in Norway and like.
But
Do we have
once
the
we
video
pull
ready?
that up, you guys will watch it, and it's like
Do we have the video ready?
you're about to get red pilled, basically.
Is this?
The prison video? Yeah. Josh.
Hey
And
Josh,
roll
it's in the drive, the Google Drive folder, the Google Sheets.
At Josh.
Yeah, so Neo is about to come up to you and give you a red pill and change your life right now.
What if I've already had a lot of those red pills?
It's in the Google Drive.
Dude, you know, there's a lot of red pills, so like.
What happens if you take both and it's just like red
Yeah,
pill,
true.
the blue
It's called
pill?
DMT.
Just cancel
The
each other
Matrix,
out.
you still live in the real world and you see both.
You become like an avatar where you can go between the spiritual realm and the real realm as you please. You
It
just
just
unlock
makes
the
a
avatar
copy of your
state.
soul, and one soul goes there.
Actually, I wonder if that's where the multiverse can come from.
Wow, there's 3 Matrix movies and they never took both pills.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nobody thought of that.
Just like put it in a little shake or something, you wouldn't even know you were taking it, and then reality changes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's that first video.
Heck, okay. All right, strap
That was a
in.
nice little segue away from the prison sentence. Prisons to talk about our mental prisons.
Dude, yeah, straight up. You're right.
Despite all my rage, I'm still.
Yes, that's.
Oh wait,
Oh,
wait,
wait.
wait. Sorry, this is the Johnny Cash video. There's another video URL.
Go back to the drive, to the sheet.
Great performance. So
It's
if you guys haven't
if you
seen
go to
that,
topics, at the bottom.
different sheet page.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Scroll
Yeah,
all the way
it's
down.
the first one on the prison row.
There it is.
Row prison death row. Death row records. Wow.
There you go. All right, let's watch
We
this.
did it full circle.
Sweet.
A few weeks ago, a company called Visually emailed me and was like, "Hey Hank, if you could do a high-quality animated video on any issue in the world, what would you choose?" Now that was a hard choice, but I went with incarceration in America because it is messed up. Now crime is also messed up. Bad things happen to good people, and that's terrible, and something should be done about it. Well, we send
Use
people
a
to
weed
prison
bag
to be punished and
as
to prevent
crime.
them from doing bad things again, and to deter others from breaking the law. Punishment, corrections, and deterrence. Now, we have this habit of thinking of prisoners as something very external to society. After all, there are literal walls between them and society, walls capped with razor wire and watched over by people with guns. But
like the
millions
border.
of prisoners are released each year. Today's prisoners are tomorrow's neighbors, so
That's a dope
corrections should probably be the most important piece of the incarceration pie. Unfortunately, it is not.
Damn.
We are, however, really good at punishment. America has about 4% of the world's people and about 25% of the world's incarcerated people. We have
Damn.
the highest incarceration rate in the world. Over the last 30 years, that number has skyrocketed.
Second's
increasing
North
over
Korea, by the way.
400%.
I know, dude, that's freaking
41%
crazy.
of American juveniles and young adults have been arrested by the time
Almost
they turn
half
23.
of all
Children as young as
juveniles
13 years old have been sentenced
that are
to
male.
die in prison. And our prisons violate international standards. Solitary confinement increases instability and violence in inmates
So
and is
bad.
considered by international law to be torture. But in America, it's not regulated by anyone except the prison officials. No judge, no jury. Arguably the most devastating form of punishment we enact in this country, and yet there is no appeals process. And you think it's hard to get a job in America? Well, we make it intentionally more difficult to get a job once you have a conviction on your record, not to mention just to live your life. Convicts are ineligible for welfare, student loans, public housing, food stamps, and are often socially disconnected from community and family support structures. So in addition to having high recidivism rates, they have very high rates of homelessness and suicide. Somewhere along the way, we started to think that being tough on crime meant being tough on criminals, but that's not the same thing. Punishment is only one piece of a much larger crime reduction pie. And it's an expensive one, with some institutions paying more than $100,000 per year per prisoner. Long prison sentences have helped to decrease crime, but no more than 25% of the decrease we've seen can be attributed to incarceration, and it costs far beyond just dollars. The cost is to people, to our country, to communities, to families, and to ourselves. The policy seems to be if you've committed a felony, we just give up on you. These wars on crime, wars on drugs, they are wars on people. The smart political move is to appear tough on crime because crime is scary. So we increased minimum sentences, we arrested more people, we sent more of them to prison. That's how we looked tough on crime. But the results are in. It's bad policy. It's cruel, it's short-sighted, and to continue this policy of mass incarceration would be foolish. We're living inside of a massive $75 billion per year failed experiment. 2010 was the first year in nearly 40 years that the number of incarcerated individuals in America did not increase.
Whoa.
Policymakers are beginning to realize the
That's
magnitude of this
awful.
failure, but there is a long way to
insane.
go. John, I'll see you on Tuesday.
That's the rest, yeah.
I love that
Wow.
ending.
There's a lot to unpack in that.
True.
Dude,
And the sad part, with all these for-profit prisons, I feel like that's part of the reason why it's really hard to like legalize marijuana throughout the U.S. Because there's a lot of people who are getting misdemeanors and even going to prison over that
Mm-hmm.
specific thing, and we all know it affects certain communities more than other. And as because they're also for-profit, they get cheap slave labor basically out of it. Like you were saying that there were some people that are only making 5 cents a day for like hours of their work.
yeah, there's like large corporations that will employ prisoners over like normal citizens because they can actually pay them less per hour. And so some of the big corporations you pretty much all heard of. And
It's like the same as like sweatshops or something.
yeah, it's crazy. Like as soon as you become a felon or break the law, like there's some
Yeah,
sort of
and
moral
because of-
line that you
Yeah.
draw.
Seriously.
Yeah. Certain
You can't
circumstances
vote
rise.
in like primary elections anymore. You can't get jobs like they're saying. Like it's a lot tougher to get a job.
Most definitely.
It's just pretty crazy, like how something can change your life like that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
But like one of my favorite examples like was the video we almost pulled up was Johnny Cash. He's like in Folsom Prison, which is in Northern California, and he gets I don't even know what he went to prison for, but he went to prison and then
I think he just went there to play the album for, or
no, like he actually got put in jail
Oh,
previously
wow.
Like before, yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay.
in that prison.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he's probably always trying to be a guitar player and singer and stuff, but after that, he got out, got a lot more famous, and actually got invited to play at the prison. And that video's on YouTube. It's pretty cool. It's like in the 50s, late 50s or early 60s, just like a rough and tough cowboy dude that's just like talking about his life in prison. It's
That's really
hilarious, dude.
Most
But
definitely.
it's a classic. For sure.
And you said it was also like a laugh track that got added in afterwards because the inmates could, because he joked around about the prisons, and the inmates weren't allowed to show their actual emotions.
Yeah, the guards at Folsom Prison back then made it clear that they could not condone any sort of like anti-establishment mentality if Johnny Cash mentions that in his songs because he was known for that.
That makes
you know.
sense. Oh, I thought they were saying that they couldn't like cheer or something because it'd be scary.
No, yeah,
But
like
it's just
they,
like if it's a particular song, then you can't cheer to that song.
yeah, like you can't
Agreed.
incite, anarchy in the
Huh.
prison. But so basically Johnny Cash would perform and one of the songs he played was called Folsom Prison Blues and one of the lyrics has the Johnny Cash saying, "I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die," right? And they said you can't say that live because they were going to be broadcasting it on television too. So he actually had to like exclude part of his lyrics.
He had to
perform.
censor himself.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. But I mean, that was back then. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of
Find it
TV
interesting that
was very primitive.
they broadcast it live.
I don't know if it was live, but they did broadcast it on color television at some, like,
Very
maybe news
cool.
stations or something.
The fact that you had to say color television says a
I
lot
know.
about like what time period it was.
It was after 53.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, like, there's tons of artists that have been to prison that, like, had their lives flipped upside down. Definitely affected by it.
It depends on what type of music you make and the type of music you make in your field and what other people have done similar to you. Like, whereas in hip hop, if you have the repertoire of like being this individual and that can give you more authenticity in your music, people tend to like want to listen to your music more just because you have the authenticity.
True.
But if you're in another field like I don't know, bagpipe playing, and they're like, "What? You did this thing and you went to jail? You're not
true.
one of us now."
Because there's like different cultures.
Yeah, it depends who your audience is. I
Mhm.
feel like.
I feel like if you're a
Exactly.
punk, you'd be good. If you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Black Flag, if one of them got arrested, they'd be like, "That's lit, bro." But like, I don't know. It's different in different places.
For sure.
Yeah, that's.
if
all.
Ed Sheeran went to jail, like, how would that
That
go?
might be kind of.
That would be kind of. I
As
feel
long
like,
as he doesn't get hurt.
Can't let America's ginger like go get hurt.
America. It's funny because he's English.
Yeah, sure.
We've adopted him now. Okay, he's
British
one of us.
Like everything else.
Yo, have you watched his Breakfast Club interview with Charlemagne the God and everyone else? He
No.
literally gets drunk with all of them. Because Charlemagne keeps on pouring, like, Charlemagne will say he doesn't even drink that much, but he keeps on refilling Ed Sheeran's cup. He's just like, you gotta drink with me, bro. And
That's
the
lit.
The title of the video is The Breakfast Club Takes 1-for-1 Shots with Ed Sheeran. They just all got faded.
Oh,
and just
gosh.
talked to Ed Sheeran.
That's insane, dude.
It's really interesting. It's a great video. I would recommend it.
Yo, if you guys went to jail for anything, what would it be? Like in the next 2 years, if you guys ended up in jail,
Alright, so
that you would be
basically-
okay with saying right now.
If there was like a what am I trying to say? If
This is
they put
why
a
Lenny Kamal
ban,
went to jail.
if they put a ban on Laffy Taffy, the candy, straight up, I couldn't say no, and I would have to keep on finding a way to get that Laffy Taffy.
Yeah.
So that would my ass would be in jail then. Like
All
My
right.
Laffy Taffy.
I'd be a clandestine Laffy Taffy maker, cooking Laffy Taffy from my basement.
It's a prohibition, but
As it cools down, it gets a lot
But funnier
tougher.
to-
Yeah, if they really, if they put a Laffy Taffy prohibition.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can think of ways that could happen. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sponsorship Laffy Taffy.
Yeah.
if you were going to prison, what would it be for?
I got to choose one thing.
You don't get to choose.
You-
What is the thing that's going to get you?
I usually
What
don't
are you
get to choose
currently
why I go to
doing?
prison.
If I'm not allowed to spend my money the way I want, and maybe I have to spend money on other things like taxes, I'm gonna pay the taxes. But if they're just like,
No,
you missed
fuck that.
45 cents, you're going to jail, I'd be like, damn, take me away.
You're going to get out from home. You're going to get messed up by the IRS.
Hey man, it's gonna happen anyways. So like, I'm not gonna. Don't kill me, please.
The Eternal Revenue System. Service.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for serving us, IRS.
Yes.
That's what Memorial Day is about.
Yeah.
It's about for the men and women who served the IRS.
In the
Crap, dude.
yeah.
I feel like the only thing that I can go to jail right now for is library late fees.
Oh,
I feel like I owe books from like
No.
elementary.
Dang it! Speaking of,
It's so true.
actually, I have to change mine to that too, dude. Straight up.
It's just
That's
yeah,
too
we
real.
call the credit
No,
score
actually-
company, and your score is now 400.
We're gonna have to impound your car, take your
gosh,
house,
dude.
and put you in jail until you can pay your fines.
I won't be able to buy a house because of my library books. I got 3 Los Gatos. 3 Los Gatos rented out still.
Oh my god! Wow, it's hilarious.
All right, well, I'm not allowed to say what I'd go to prison for, so we're just gonna cut to some music. No, but I have some songs prepared for you. These 3 songs, I'll tell you the title later, but they were thought of in regards to prison and maybe just like a cage or feeling trapped or.
Oh, do you love songs?
Are they?
Are you talking about the cage within my heart that beats for some gay shit?
That's what they're about.
Some capsule
Yeah.
or a hammock, something that holds you, a cocoon. Yeah.
All right, so do we have the songs ready to go?
Oh yeah, wait. Alexa, play the songs
Is
that
it-
I
We're not allowed
had
to say
ready.
Alexa here.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
We're-
computer.
We're sponsored by Siri.
Siri.
By Apple. There we go.
Is there a Twitter handle for the person who just has the at of music? I mean, look it up. Who's just like at music?
Give me that morning sunrise, the deep ocean blue. Put me under a violet sky, the glory of the rising moon. Come alive, come alive, got me with your arms. Teach me how, 'cause I'm stuck without time, black and white. It's all vibrations. I see a world that moves. It can be all for you. 'Cause there's
There was an empty seat on the aeroplane. He stretched his legs, feeling ready to love anything. Resting his head, but no comfort his face, his face. American or not, whether you gotta say. There was an empty seat right behind him. She was on the second leg, looking towards redemption. She knew sometimes taking, sometimes pain, sometimes pain. But after a life on the go, she had nothing. I'll never know where I'm going with this. It's like every day starts to feel like a transition. Never know where I'm going with future. It planned on, it planned on. All the things he never said were the life he imagined. There was an empty seat near the bathroom. She was praying that her love had been asleep when it happened. Her foreign faith left a taste in her mouth, but the God that she spoke to was no longer around. I never know where I'm going with this surveying stuff. Every day starts to feel like a dream on a drum. Never know where I'm going with this
All right. Thanks for sticking around for the second half. My name's Ronnie Watkins, and I'm back with the Hub podcast and my three friends that are talking about music with me.
Hi,
Hey, yo, on my left.
I'm Lenny, and we also have.
Pierre, that's me. And then,
Yeah, in case you forgot who you were,
yes.
I forgot.
I'm
who
Will,
it
by
was.
the way.
You know, sometimes you just forget who you are and then you have to find yourself again.
One time I heard a sage say that every 3 minutes is new.
What makes the previous
3
2
minutes.
minutes?
Yeah, true.
So, the way I interpret that is that every 3 minutes, your soul hops to a different body.
Oh.
And so, like, you experience a new life every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But because you're wrapped in this one the whole time, like,
It
yourself
feels longer
only.
than 3 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's very weird.
I
straight up.
completely understand it, but that being said, this feels a whole lot longer than 3 fucking minutes. Man. This is like goddamn fucking feature-length movie.
Hey,
Like, I gotta strap in for the ride. I'm watching now. I just wish there was more popcorn.
Time-
Exactly. So the first
Yes.
half was way longer than 3 minutes, which is
Yeah.
why you might have forgotten our names.
Ah.
Oh, okay, that
I
makes
see
sense.
that.
I think it's just called living with ADD.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just- you can't
Yeah, I know.
focus
I
on
know
it.
my generation. You guys can't remember my name.
I also forgot what that last song was called.
Exactly.
What is that?
See, point in
What it
case.
is
Because they're from
is
SD,
that
right?
we need to-
Yeah. So
Freaking
wait,
lit.
So yeah, who were these bands?
the last song that played. He went to school in college in SD, but he's actually from Petaluma. He's from Northern California.
Oh, Petaluma.
Yeah, it's like
I have
north
family
of San Francisco. It's a very equestrian area. There's a lot of wine.
True. And it's just so beautiful. It's
The
nice.
second song I played, they are actually from San Diego. I mean,
Oh,
maybe they're from
okay.
different places too, but they reside in San Diego right now. They book shows and they play at bars all the time and cool venues and stuff. They're
I'm down to go
called.
see them.
Oh wait, sorry. The last song I played, his name was Maxwell Cantrell, just a solo artist. The second guys that played, the ones that are from San Diego, they are called New Me, which is like a side project of the guitarist from Spooky Cigarette, which is also a local act here. They're pretty sick. And then the first song that played was from a band over in Virginia Beach, and they are called Recluse Raccoon.
That's dope.
Yeah, and they've had an EP on Spotify for like 3 years, and it's been like very mild. Like I feel like people just don't like find it very often. They don't have any sort of advertising, I guess.
Oh, okay.
They barely
So really
released their
underground.
first album,
Did
and it's
you-
like fired.
Have you done college radio?
No.
You sound like you've done college radio. That's exactly what I would have said. Like,
Dude.
You're trying to say something. You're like,
I'm like not too far out of college.
yeah. So you do, well, we're
Yeah,
doing real
same.
radio now. So it's pretty close.
We're living your college days, basically.
I'm sure there's a textbook I haven't closed yet.
No.
At some point in your life, you closed the textbook for the last time.
Balls.
And it was definitely organic chemistry.
Oh,
I wish.
That class was insane. I'm just kidding. I didn't take that one. I took robotics instead.
ooh, that's dope.
I wish I did that instead.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
but the topic's dope.
Yes.
So before we go in there, all the music you guys heard right now and for the next set is gonna be found in the descriptions. Feel
Oh,
free to
yes.
follow these bands. Like
Correct.
we love their music, so please go support these guys.
True.
Yeah, I handpicked those like in regards to the topic and how close they are to my heart. So I'm serious, dude. They're all pretty cool.
That's lit.
Awesome.
So the next topic that we have up is, like I said earlier, climate change, and maybe what we could do to help. And
Or make things worse.
if that's just
Or-
write
yeah.
a song, maybe that's enough. You know?
Well, okay. I'm not gonna take credit for this, but what you were talking about earlier about how we have an overload of information, so it's easy to like just goes in one ear out the other. But if you have musicians kind of almost like singing about it, but it's almost like subliminal, then we're more likely to have that message stick in our head and be like, oh damn, if this person who I respect so much is singing about this and cares about it, I
I should
probably
too.
should too.
Yeah, I think it like we've talked about earlier, I think it highly just depends on the individual and who's making the song and what they're making the song for. If they put messages like they're on their own hand because they like personally want to, then it's more like, oh wow, you can actually get a solid message, and even if it is subliminal, and if it was intentional or not is whatever. But if you like actually care about it, I feel like that message will resonate more naturally with the audience
I agree.
versus like someone being like, oh, just like write about this stuff, and then you write about the stuff and people care about the stuff, then yeah, it's important, but like the artists,
You can like see through the fakeness, kind of.
usually you can,
Yeah, cause like if the thing is also execution, like that's the biggest thing, cause it can go between sounding like a truth cigarette campaign where like, oh, don't smoke because it's bad for you, but the commercials are so bad that you're like, I kind of want to smoke right now just to piss them off.
These producers wait.
It's a meme. What? No, stop.
I actually have
But
a pretty
sometimes
funny
it is a meme,
example.
Do tell.
So this isn't about climate change, but it's like where an artist brought up
Okay.
something that he wanted his listeners to like kind of change their
Resonate
lifestyle
with.
about.
Yeah.
So Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, he's
Yes.
like the main songwriter, right? Everyone knows and loves him. He wrote a song called Vegetables,
Ah.
and it's either on the Smile album or like the album right after Pet Sounds.
Dude,
It's so
is this
funny,
him
though.
being super like carnivore because like, dude, vegetables are amazing. Why are you eating them? Like,
No.
don't kill these guys. They're my friends. I
It's
watched VeggieTales growing up.
Fourth
They have
generation
lives.
Californian. Way been here way too long. Dude. No. He has a song about vegetables, and it's really funny because I think, yeah, sure, we should all eat more vegetables, right? Less meat, less dairy. But the way he puts it, it's like so corny. Not to. Okay. I didn't mean to make that one, but it's really corny. He's like, my favorite vegetables. He pronounces every syllable just to make the song like vibe
Flow.
better. It's
Yeah.
hilarious, dude.
That's
Yeah,
lit.
that's awesome.
And you hear like there's like a lot of crunches.
It's a snare. They just sampled it for the whole
You should
thing.
listen to it. Dude. Yeah, it's probably just a snare.
Sample it as a snare.
That's probably what there was a TED talk that just came out. I'm not exactly sure when. I just watched it actually this morning randomly, and it was a woman talking about global warming and climate change, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Was she was saying that there's so much data and it's just overwhelming to the point that like it's hard to pay attention to what's fact and what's like what is it that's just trying to scare you.
Yeah. Like what's shock value and what's like real.
Yeah, and like, so she was saying that like music is probably the best way to bring it to the masses because if it's catchy and it sticks, you're gonna remember that for the rest of your life.
100%.
And, like,
Okay.
there's probably gonna be a point in your life where you're like, why is this song stuck in my head? I have no idea where it's from, but it's
Why
saying,
was Ludacris on Baby with Justin Bieber?
why do I remember the lyrics so perfectly?
All these questions.
Like when I was 15, I had my first love, and there ain't no baby like my baby. She came from above. Like why? Why do we know this? Like why can't we have those kind of like memories about like, all right, let's make sure we're not, driving when we can just walk down the street.
Yeah. Don't use water bottles.
Yeah, use reusable ones.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yo, I thought
Actually,
of
no,
a
screw
good.
it. Just pour your hands like this. Go to the faucet, get some water. That way, you're not wasting any type of
Screw Hydro
resources.
Flask. Just use your hands.
Yeah.
God gave you these perfect cups.
Drink water out of.
Yo, I thought of a good example though. Like Peter, Bjorn, and John.
Yes, young folks.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
Okay, on that album Writer's Block, they have a song called "Poor Cow." Do you know that song?
No.
I don't know
Ah,
the
dude.
band, but do you explain?
You should look it up on your own. Holy crap!
That's dope.
It's about like, just like, I don't know, the U.S. dollar,
poor cows.
traveling.
And how
Lifestyle.
it relates to the meat and dairy industry.
The
Exactly.
consumerism lifestyle.
It's pretty insane. It literally uses the word
Doy.
consumerism in
hell
there.
yeah, dude. We just
Yeah,
want,
it's a really
we just
good
want,
song.
We just want.
Yeah.
We want burgers.
It's true.
And we want presents.
And
There's,
we
like,
want it
some
now.
gnarly lines
And
in
now we don't even want to go out to get it. No, we want somebody to go pick
want
it up for
Grubhub,
us,
bro.
to bring it back, and we want free delivery charges.
There you
Joyride.
go, sir.
Well, I don't know
I'm not
about
tipping them.
the free delivery. There's no way. this happening.
We'll get drones.
You know, Uber
Facts,
is
dude.
actually losing money inherently as they exist, and so the fact that a lot of workers are like on strike, like Uber is blah blah blah.
It's because they never changed my channel, so I can like play whatever I want in the Uber. Dude.
Yeah.
They gotta have that
true.
damn
Ox.
top 40.
2.5 stars.
No ox for my mixtape. Like,
Like, bro, put this on.
Yo, another artist though that is doing something about climate change now. Her name's Grimes. You guys
Oh.
know her, right?
She's doing stuff about climate change.
Yeah, dude. She would too. Actually, her mom's a politician.
Wow.
Oh, that's
No.
A
I
Canadian
didn't know that.
politician.
Yeah, Canadian politician. Kind of like
Okay.
a local, like, she's pretty, I don't know her name, but it's probably, the last name's Boucher.
Okay.
Anyway.
I don't know
I
anything
think I
about
remember hearing
Canadian
that
politics.
in the Nardwar interview.
Yeah, it was in the
Nardwuar.
Nardwuar interview, yeah. So,
Nardwuar
Grimes, she's coming out with a new album, and she,
is dating Elon Musk.
yeah, she's going out on dates with Elon Musk.
Trying to get threesomes
And she,
with Azalea Banks.
Oh, I heard
Just
about
throwing
that.
that out there.
Azalea Banks was like, I just like Grams DM'd me on Insta, and I showed up at, and she was there for several days waiting for Grimes.
Oh, dude.
And Elon Musk is never there, and she's just like day 3, just talking shit about Grimes on Instagram. It's just like I've been here for 2 days, and Grimes hasn't like messaged me back. Like,
It's amazing.
yeah, but she's actually coming out with a new album, and like her last
That's
one was like
awesome.
insanely good, and like she toured the world with it and had lots of artists from all over the world. This one has got to be as good or better, but it's about like this demon goddess, fictitious concept album that
Egyptian.
wants to devour the world and humans, and they want the destruction to come quicker. So it's a
Dude, like,
satirical
why
way of
not?
looking at like
Yeah.
how the earth is getting destroyed. And she says that like if you do it in this satirical way that's like over exaggerating it, then you can start to look at it in a realistic
did she
way.
Yeah,
say this in
seriously.
an
not
interview?
shy way. What?
Did she say this in an interview?
Well, I haven't
Or
seen
did
a
she
video of it,
allude
but
it?
there is a Wall Street Journal article I shared with you
I
guys.
mean, like that correlation that you just made there for me about how some devouring like even like goddess like wants to like eat some shit. It relates to like climate change. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? But with that, with you connecting the dots, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Because, like,
it's
either
pretty cool.
climate change itself is that monster, or we get even deeper, we're that monster.
I think that's a deeper root
Feel me?
cause, but at the same time, single-use plastics are powerful, and you can sell them for very cheap.
They are. They're very
And we live
efficient.
in a consumer
had-
society.
We had ways of not using plastic. Like,
Yeah, paper cups.
no,
rubber.
no,
actually
not
still
even
bad.
that.
The
Not even
plants
just
that
that.
make
Buy a Tesla.
No, like, yo, if you want, they're really nice. But only buy it if you need a new car. If you actually need a car.
Yeah, but if you buy a used car, then you're using fossil fuels, which are killing the environment.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you need to get a car, you might as well get an electric. Because not because it is 100% better right now, but because it may be better in the future.
Yeah, I feel
But
It could be.
But
It can
the
be.
thing is, in order for those cars to be made, you're also using resources.
Yes.
So, unless you, because let's say if you keep using your car until it runs out, then that car is not ending up in the garbage where it's never going to be used again, or like somebody else will be using it. But if you really do, your car's not running at all, get an electric one. It's great. It's good for the environment.
I heard if you have a Prius, you could fit a twin-sized bed in the back of the trunk, and it has solar energy panels at the top, so you can use full AC and listen to like radio and
What?
shit.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
second that.
That sounds pretty kinky.
Because I can't fit
a twin bed.
on a twin bed, and I know
Yeah.
I cannot fit inside of a Prius.
That's
you go.
hilarious.
Yeah, actually, same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey
you know.
man, I lived in college and I could only afford a twin-sized bed, so I slept on that bed.
But they give you extra long twins in college, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Except my feet
That
still
is
hung
true.
out.
That's
My
very
feet
true.
still hung out,
I
though,
did
so-
have
Twin
extra
extra
long beds in Cal Poly.
Kind of used to it
That's-
now. I
that's
can't
what
go to
they had.
sleep without my feet hanging
Yeah, dude, I know.
Yeah, it feels comfortable. Like this,
You can,
this
like,
is what it's
swing
like
them
to be
and stuff.
human. I just have my feet off the edge. No biggie.
Hashtag 60 things. That's so bad.
But going back, so I was saying that like before, or the whole thing with plastic, sodas, plastic bottles, and that kind of stuff. We had glass. It was literally all we had to do was wash it, and it wasn't until
Yeah.
an industry came up that pushed it out and like
Okay.
we don't do that
I
anymore.
got a question
but
for you.
in Mexico,
I
they still do
I have
that.
a question for you.
What's your
Go.
question?
Do you blame the English for inventing the Industrial Revolution and coming up with all that cool shit before we had it? They were the first ones to like get all the cool shit and manufacture them on a very good pace. But at the advent of that, we pretty much wrecked the environment after that point. But was it worth it for the efficiency of your daily lives? Would you rather live a life where it's not that efficient and you can save on the environment? Are you happy with just wasting things in order to make your
Whoa.
life easier?
I will say, in a perfect world, maybe we would have learned how to live without those things. But where we stand now, if we lose those things, we are all EF'd.
That is true.
That's what my
That is
next point
very
was.
true.
I don't think it's that easy. I think like not only is efficiency at play, but safety.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people have developed
Well,
these things
die.
we
that you
tried
can
to
like
blame
save
plastic
lives. Yeah.
plastic straws, and we have paper ones, and now people are like, I don't like these paper straws, and then actually disabled people are like, we can't use these plastic straws. So it's a very difficult issue because we have all these things that we could fix, but our ways of fixing them now are not perfect. So
Yeah,
we
true.
revert back to ways which are less
we know.
perfect. Exactly.
The thing is, we all have to make a decision to move through those changes until we find one that works.
That is the goal.
True. But
That
we
is the
usually
goal.
get stuck in one, and then we get used to it. So it's like I don't want to get out of
Well,
this.
let's look at
Really
technology in general. Like in
AI.
technology, there's early adopters,
Next
people.
point.
Yeah, there's people who adopt the technology and start using it, and they're the basically like beta testers. Like
early
imagine the first
adopters.
iPhone, like
The
your phone was
technocrats.
covering the antenna and you couldn't do it. Like
But
people had to risk making a huge change for technology in order for it to get where it is right now, which is like not.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best way to fix a problem does not always get implemented, though, and I think that's a flaw with that argument. So, like, we invented the Tesla coil, and because Thomas Edison was like, "Fuck
I
that
know.
shit,"
We would have
now we don't use
free-
it.
Freaking
Energy.
unlimited energy.
Yeah, we had that
bro. That would
already.
have been so perfect.
So, like, we could
No
be
more
super
SDG.
advanced.
We have
And
to
like
pay.
I'm on
Energy's
that
free.
vibe. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
dude.
yeah, if we're coming up with shit, we can just release it and it'll be chill. But sometimes it's really not that easy because like, man, the Library of Alexandria was burned down. Who knows what technology we lost?
That's true.
So like,
True.
I don't know.
Well,
what this
all right, same
technology
thing. Like
fits
if
in.
more people had used that technology, not just in Alexandria, like that technology would be elsewhere and it would have been adopted by other people.
Yeah.
Like we,
I
in
agree.
fact, like that's the argument you're saying. The
Did
argument I'm
Atlantis
making
exist?
is right now we're finding ways to make things better. They're not necessarily 100% better yet. We haven't figured out how to 100% harness solar energy to to its full potential. But if we keep sticking to something that we know doesn't work,
Yeah.
we're not helping. We're
That
not.
is very
just-
true.
You lower the chances of something bad happening just by making one small difference. Because imagine like one piece of technology, everybody changes. That over time will save us a lot.
Yeah.
And we also need to keep each other accountable, not just us here, but countries right now. Like
The EU,
one.
the EU tried to like implement. Okay, so apparently like Italy, France, the UK, which they're barely in the EU, but like the Portugal, and like a lot of other top EU countries were just like, let's like sign emissions, and we're gonna go down by 50% of coal energy. They're reducing all of their coal use by like, and they're gonna like have no coal use, and the entire of the EU is supposed to apparently run 100% energy efficient by like actual, not 100, but you look up the article. There's something loosely related to exactly what I'm describing. So with that being said, the top countries said this idea of like, we're gonna get this like really high achieving goal of energy use being reduced in a good way, and the smaller countries like Poland is almost entirely like their main money maker is coal. So like when a country like that is adapted to a whole, and if we relate this to the United States, if Alabama is like nobody, Alabama, and some stuff.
True.
And
So-
Alabama's like, I'm gonna keep making coal
Yeah.
because that's all I know how to do.
We already do that.
Yeah, so like I think a lot of changes will be made and changes will be like adapted to climate change. But some people are or some ideologies or groups or areas of the world are so rooted in like their way of life that they will not change it for others. And I think that's just something the American public is going to have to deal with,
Well,
especially.
not just the American public,
Everybody.
Well, all right, because you're talking about something that actually did happen and research has proven it.
Yeah.
I just saw a post by was it the National Post. They were talking that China has been secretly emitting banned ozone depleting gas.
What a shocker.
So more specifically, CFC 11, which is what is it? 5,000 times more potent than carbon dioxide at warming the climate. And this thing has been banned for 30 years, in the same accord. Like, everybody got together, decided we're never going to use this again. And it turns out that they make up about 40 to 60% of all the problems right now that we have. That is why our research that says, it's not going to happen till down the line, but we got to make change now. They accelerated it like crazy. Like, it was,
Dang it, dude.
what was it?
Why'd they do that?
Yeah, scientists from the University of Bristol, and that all originated from Eastern China.
Dang.
And the thing is, like,
Must be.
we get
very strange.
a lot of Americans and all of us, we get
Wasn't there like a
things from
big
China, too.
Yeah,
Not
there's a big
everything,
tariff on
sure.
China's
Yeah.
goods now,
Yeah.
and now there's like I don't know. I watched some Bloomberg Twitter video about it, so I couldn't really explain to you in depth. But like, it sounds like this actually matters, and like the things were like, and also Huawei. There's like a Huawei ban, like Chinese phone maker.
Yeah, they
They're-
made a sick foldable phone.
Yeah.
But Samsung made one just like a month after,
What's
and
it
they made
do?
it even better.
Yo.
But Samsung has like the monopoly on America, so
Yeah.
America banned
So
it from
here's the
coming
thing:
in here.
Huawei was actually progressing. They were the third most leading company, like
Yeah.
actually phone company that was, and they were like gonna get to first, and they were like almost about to surpass Samsung. But after the U.S. ban, where it's just like, with that being said, the Chinese government is like, either you gotta, you never know. Like ZTE is owned by Taiwan, which is owned by China, and U.S. also like banned ZTE phones from coming in.
ZTE.
Yeah,
Never heard of that
there's just another phone, the Axom series.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's like a notable phone
Mm-hmm.
maker. But anyways, a lot of these companies are getting banned. Other ones are being replaced. So like, with that being said,
Who's the best business company, basically?
yeah,
Who can
there,
like?
there really is, and everybody's asking for apologies. I mean, everybody pays a fine and apologizes, but like the way I think that what's gonna happen in the future is everything's gonna get so warm and like climate's gonna change that we're gonna be like our music's gonna get impacted. Our lyrics and all that are gonna talk about it because we talk about issues that we're dealing with like right now, like all these crazy hurricanes, all these crazy things that are happening right now. Like we're in San Diego and it's been raining like constant.
Yeah, I know.
And it's
That's
not
true.
it's not the time that's
Not
supposed to be
used to that.
raining. We had droughts and all of a sudden it's raining all the time. And like that might inspire me to start writing music about rain more in an area where it's not supposed to be
Yeah.
raining.
I feel that.
Like I can see like it's not just going to impact us universally, but individually. Like the way we interact with people. Like we're going to stay in, and we might not even go to the show because it's raining, or we're not going to be able to leave because of pollution. Like in China,
It'll be too
it's
dang
really
hot.
hard to leave. Like there's so much pollution and everything, and I feel like it's going to start cutting us off from being able to explore more.
yeah, it limits your livelihood, and going to things like experiencing real events and like actually putting yourself in a society will be limited by
That's
like
why we
climate
gotta
change.
colonize under the ocean. Not under the water. though. We gotta
Atlantis
go to the bottom of the
4.0.
ocean and then dig.
All right, we really need to start a country called Atlantis, and let's make
Yeah.
some Atlantean music.
Okay,
Like I'm really
Actually-
intrigued to
That
see
would
how
be
does
the-
an
That's
underwater
already-
like, sound like.
What you're saying has already happened 26,000 years ago. It has already happened. The music
So,
has been made.
I did see I did see the Little Mermaid, and they have some sick beats.
Dude.
It sounds pretty Jamaican sometimes too.
Imagine the kind of samples they were getting with that like Atlantean technology. They probably got some cool sample machines. And just like
Dude.
music software in general.
crystal based.
You're like you say this, but that's
And think of the
Totally
frequencies
true.
they have for like whales and stuff singing.
holy fuck.
They're probably hitting a whole thing that sounds amazing if we could tune into it,
Yo.
but we can't.
What if there's like
Subwoofers.
actual whales writing full length albums?
Yo. I actually know a SoundCloud account that it's called Earther, and they have like sounds from the Challenger Deep.
Oh, that's legit.
They actually have like the module that went down to the lowest point in the Marianas Trench in
Damn.
the Pacific Ocean, lowest point in the Earth. they have sounds from it, and there's like whales going.
Dude,
It's
there's
crazy.
probably some other stuff down there that they can't identify.
But I would
Like,
argue
bro.
that the pollution can affect everyone, especially musicians. I would argue that the voice is the first musician's tool,
Not
musical
mine.
instrument.
And also musicians
Yeah.
can affect global warming by singing about it.
Yes. this
Well,
is
yeah, I
true.
mean, like-
And like with the secret powers that your voice has, you know?
Yeah. That's true.
But like through
and,
awareness.
and I feel like each musician, whether they not have, they do have a voice. Whether or not you control what your voice is, or if you change your voice for a different audience versus you make your voice yourself. If you truly care about either of those entities, if they care about climate change, they can like actually influence the artist and actually what gets said. And I think that if more artists focus on this topic of global warming and change, we can all easier unite as a society to like fix our planet because it's gonna die.
True.
If musicians can already raise all this money for all these different causes, like we saw like Queen had the AIDS, you know, that big festival just to raise money to help find research. Like we can do that ourselves now, for finding ways of lowering and cleaning our oceans, working on coming up with new technologies. And I know you.
Nuts.
You also put a list of a couple songs together that kind of talked about global warming, and I think it's about time that we let our listeners hear that music.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think it was funny that you guys talked about rain because like one of them is called California Rain.
Oh heck yeah.
It's by
Yeah.
it's by one of our friends that went to college with us, but he's from Oregon, or Washington. He's actually from Toledo, Washington. His name's
Toledo,
Joel Martin
Washington.
from Toledo.
There is a
But
place in
that's good.
Ohio called Toledo, and also there's Will Toledo of car seat headrests.
Yeah, a lot of cities like Memphis are in multiple places.
Where is there another
Really?
Memphis other than Tennessee?
Africa.
The fuck, that doesn't count. It's
one.
not in the same country. You can't just say
Yeah,
that.
that's not.
That doesn't count.
No, it's in northern
But-
Africa. It's near the Nile River.
Yeah, I think we have the playlist ready, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to that in just a moment. So who are these bands again? Do you remember their names?
Animal
Yeah,
Collective.
so
Where
one
are
of
they
them is
from?
Joel Martin. He's a solo artist. He does kind of folk rock and writes a lot of music on guitar and voice and stuff. And then another guy on this next batch.
They're from the Visualizer video that we compiled together, right? Yeah.
Let me think.
By the way, didn't you also put the Lizard Gizzard?
Oh yeah,
King
there's
Lizard.
King Gizzard.
King
King
Gizzard
Gizzard. There
and
you go.
Lizard Wizard.
They're from
Oh my
Australia.
gosh, they blew my mind when I saw my Coachella. Like
Really?
that was intense. Like I wasn't even on anything. It was just.
There's
like,
also Grimes too.
I did not see Grimes there. I'm very
Oh,
disappointed.
okay, dang it.
I don't think she was there, but we'll see what happens. Maybe in the future we can all do a live podcast. We're gonna be screaming from inside the audience, be like, "We're here, listen to Grimes. This is our Snapchat story. Listen to part 1 of 20 because for some reason we decided to Snapchat the whole freaking concert live on our podcast,
Maybe,
and we're gonna get
maybe
shut
that wouldn't
down
be issue.
because we're not supposed to be doing that."
I could see that happening in the
That's
future.
art.
But now,
Yeah.
here's the music.
California rain, such a beautiful sound. Still, it's not the same, but it's the thought that counts. And it comes pouring down. Racing toward the ground, just to rise back up, trying to wash out the sidewalk. But people run around in mindless guilt and say, "Thank God it only happened twice a year." California rain, how does it feel to exist as a poster for pain and cognitive dissonance?
Smile big while the ice all melts. It's who you are, don't try to be someone else. Flash a light in frozen time in our finest mask. We're not as splendid as we seem, but no one asks. The rain is coming down again, but everyone's prepared. With umbrellas out and expensive coats, we can rest assured that it won't be very long till we forget it's there. It won't sink in or touch our skin. There'll be no cleansing here. No, we don't have to be scared at all. And it comes pouring down all at once, racing toward the ground just to rise back up, trying to wash out this monotonous air. The middle of a drought, but we cover our head. And it's a brilliant plan to convince ourselves that we don't give a damn for anyone else. Eating from the hand of what we buy and sell. From in the promised land, all share the smile big in your finest mask. He's not as hungry as he tries to look, but no one asks. Fishing for fishy stuff, let them feel happy on meaning them. I feel so sorry for fishies. Don't to kiss it, but that poor fishy is free.
Hey guys, it's Ronnie again, if you didn't remember my name.
What's my name again?
And we have Lenny, Pierre, and Will. Wait, just
That's
kidding.
me.
Us. What? And I don't say that other word.
Let's go the opposite way again. Will,
Pierre.
Pierre.
Lenny or Leonard?
Shoot. Oh, okay.
Whoa, we're
Yeah, I
getting
know.
very formal here now.
I'm not telling you my real name.
Hey, what does
All
Ronnie
right,
stand
Ronald.
for? Does it stand for Ronald over
Ronald Ronigan.
Nothing,
nothing?
nowhere,
Nowhere in
inside,
the back of
everywhere.
Nothing.
He's
nowhere
actually
is a
Ronald
band.
McDonald
It's
Jr.
good.
It's short for Ron Stoppable.
But
Yo, so that first song you guys heard was called California Rain by our friend Joel Martin. He is awesome, and he plays a lot of like banjo and guitar and like classic folk instruments. Second song you guys heard was Fishing for Fishes. It's a new song by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. The whole album's out now, and it's kind of funny. There's like a song called like Robot Funk or something like that.
I still can't believe that they're releasing so many albums so quickly.
Yeah,
they're very
Like,
fast.
didn't they say they're gonna do 10 albums in 2 years or something like
They
that?
did like
Holy
3 in 2017.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Dang.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
remember
really
I was working for I used to work at this college radio station, and there was a time period in the current section. That's what we called the new music for like 6 months, and it was like literally every single King Gizzard Wizard album. It was literally like 15% of all.
Every time you do a
It
current section, it's
was
King
like it was
Gizzard.
always there.
That's perfect.
That's
It was,
crazy.
it was awesome though.
Dude, one of their albums they put out had a microtonal guitar. So like ours has like frets at a normal space. They had more frets between
Oh,
it.
that's dope.
Yeah. And so he wrote songs with like a brand new instrument
That's
basically.
crazy. Have you ever seen the fretless guitars?
Oof. Yeah.
Dude, they look hard to play, but they look
Yeah.
kind of sick.
Hence why I wince.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, maybe a violinist. Dude.
True.
Have you guys actually heard of, before we go to the last artist that you guys heard, which is also a violinist? There's a violinist from a band called Of Montreal.
Yeah, I've heard of the band.
Yeah.
Really eclectic music.
Really?
Very
That's-
epic and very
Oh, that's
cool.
lit.
Yeah, very like good. But
Wait, what are they
That's
called
a
again?
description.
Of Montreal.
Gotcha. So they're from
De Montreal. So they had an artist in there, a very hard to pronounce Japanese name. Grew up in Canada, I guess. Grew up speaking English, probably French too. But he has very good violin skills, and he sings. And he like
Oh.
split off and did a solo act.
That sounds
He's
good.
not in the band anymore, and he like will take a violin, plug it in direct, and have looping things, and just like
Yo, that's how
it's
so
insane, dude. Like
Dang.
he layers it so much, and it's like really good music.
This is very
That's dope.
unrelated, but I just want. Have you seen the YouTube video where it's just alt, how to make any alt J song, and it's this guy eating a rice cracker as he's re-looping other shit.
Put it in my mind.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, oh my
It's so crazy.
it sounds really weird.
But it sounds so good though. It
does.
sounded really
It
good.
sounds very
They
good.
really did it.
Yeah.
They did make an alt J song.
Oh my god.
But the last song on that 3-song playlist, it was by Grimes. It's just like a weird song on her SoundCloud that's not on any album, but
Those are the best.
They are
yeah, it's
the
really
best.
cool.
Yeah.
She plays violin on that song actually, just like plucking it and stuff.
Oh yeah, you said violin part. I was just like, how does this go?
Yeah, she's like really famous for like saying that she's bad at playing instruments, but she's so good at making
Good,
music.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah, I feel
It's true.
you don't have to humble yourself. We get it, you know. But
True. I heard there was Animal Collective being talked about later. Is this true?
It's the only reason he came.
I heard.
when is Animal Collective coming out? Actually,
I don't know, but I know last year they released. They just went on tour for their album Sung Tongs, and it's like it's the most meme album ever because
You
it's
say
literally
meme?
just yeah, but it's just like random ambient stuff. But it's just like the two main members, and it's literally only made with the guitar and like their voices.
Ooh.
And made the entire album. It's just guitar noises. And
Yeah.
voices.
That's
It's
sick.
fucking weird, dude. But this is
yo, could you go to the video that's chapter 6 for this one? This one is basically the band Animal Collective,
Yeah.
And they're a bunch of guys from New York. They met in like art school or something like that.
Yes.
And they make a lot of avant-garde, like pop, electronic, folk music.
Just
and
good music, though.
yeah, it's so good.
It's
It's
very
so
good.
thoughtful. It's so layered. It's so
Intricate.
yeah. But they travel to the Brazilian rainforest and they sample a lot of cool stuff. And here it is.
Cool.
Ready, go.
The video is partially produced by Live Nation. It's pretty cool.
I feel like there's sort of like the creative side of what we were able to come and make here. But then also just, you know, what I've learned from the jungle and the people makes me understand in nature how much everything is connected.
Is that Avatar?
Now, yes.
I felt like I needed to come here to get some context and to have some sort of connection to it, to move my interest in learning about this forward a little bit. And definitely did that.
Let's try and
Are they making their own music, their own instruments like that, or it just would?
It's just fire.
We're set up.
Let's sample
And,
that.
We're doing it. Let me just make sure.
We out here to
That's
We're
awesome.
good. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Whoa, that thing is amazing.
Is that the dolphin thing you're talking about?
No, that's just like a modular synth that he has.
Gosh.
And those are two samplers that they literally used as mics earlier in the week. The Animal Collective in its inception was two guys. It was that guy with the red hat and then a different guy, Noah Lennox, Panda Bear.
Oh.
And they started it. But now it's 4 people, but for this trip specifically, only 2 people went.
Oh, got
So
it.
right now it's Deacon and Avi Terror.
What are the other two? What's
So
their-
there's Panda Bear, Deacon, Geologist, and
that's dope.
Avi Terror.
So why are they in the strip again?
Did he know about this?
No, I didn't.
I mean, just to see like
Why are they on?
jungle
Why
doesn't
are they on this
end.
trip again?
It's pretty overwhelming. I mean, it's like
They're
being
trying
on
to
a
figure out
boat
how to
in the
save
middle
the
of the ocean, and
rainforest.
you just look around and you see
What's
nothing but
something they
ocean
can do to
everywhere.
help?
You know, to see that, you know,
They did
was pretty cool.
This is what they could do to help. That.
Like this is what we're talking
Being able
about.
to
Yeah.
see
Artists
stuff
using their
above that
influence.
put things into a different perspective. It was interesting because there was so much more contrast. I feel like that you noticed between Manaus and then the jungle, like on the either side of the river, and how different the Amazon and the Rio Negro are from each other, and look,
wow.
and just them meeting together.
That shot looks cool, but also looks fake for some reason.
It's too good.
Just looking at how like awesome the river was, or all the different channels, it makes you feel small in a beautiful way, but it also makes you kind of wonder like what you could be doing to help.
I suppose the way to think about the Amazon or rainforest in general, they take out the carbon dioxide and they give back oxygen. If you think of the planet and all of us as one organism, the rainforests are the lungs, essentially, and they breathe for all of
Nope.
us.
Still. Nope.
And right now we're poisoning them. We're destroying them. Smoking cigarettes, essentially. Plants and trees, they require carbon dioxide, just like we require their oxygen. It's a symbiotic relationship. And neither one can exist without the other. And right now, humans are behaving as if that's not the case.
We're parasites on this earth at this point. We're literally killing them and not letting them like give us the benefits down the line.
But I need Vice to tell me that what some drug cartel is doing right now. I don't know. I'm just joking, but no, you're right. That's very important. I'm really glad Animal Collective is like making some, because even though the videos made of Live Nation, I don't think they were like coerced into doing something like that. It sounded like they actually cared about the area and wanted to go and make a positive difference.
Yeah, they say it in earlier chapters of that, the whole thing, but they've always wanted to go to the Brazilian rainforest
Oh, that's dope.
and like explore it for multiple reasons, for musical reasons, for like social justice
Spiritual reasons too.
Yeah, I'm sure spiritual reasons.
Yeah, because that's like the bulk majority of their music. Their earlier stuff is so weird.
Yeah.
Like I try to listen to it and I'm just like, I don't get it.
Dude,
But
their first album, it's called In Spirit They've Gone, In Spirit They've Vanished.
yeah, I heard about it.
It's really cool.
I've not actually listened to it though. Yeah.
It feels like one of those things you had to be there when it came out to really understand.
Aha, that's
Like
very
I feel
true.
like a lot of people have a lot of time getting into their old stuff when they come into it so late into the game.
Yeah, you don't
Why
know what
so?
you missed.
It's because it's so weird. Like it's so unique and such a.
And certain stuff was like meant to come out in a certain time period, and like it's really important during that time period, but it will not, like the earth will not be the same as the earth was in that time period. To like, carry that forward into a different 20 years later, and you're looking at the music, it's very different, and a lot of people will try to compare that to other things, but in the reality you cannot really experience how that original generation did and why they considered it important. That's why a lot of people like really stick to the music they listened to and like grew up as a kid.
Yeah, that's
In their
true.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, to bring up another subject on climate is, did you know that there's a plastic island in the ocean?
What?
And it's
Yeah.
bigger than the size of Texas.
Holy.
No.
Yeah, it's just a spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Is
where
it actually bigger in surface area than Texas?
it's bigger in surface?
And it's getting bigger.
Yeah, it's
You know they killed
crazy, dude.
they killed
Really?
the
Like a picture of
Australian
this thing?
What is it?
I want to see a pic.
I'll put it up.
the Australian.
Can we get a picture of that
coast.
up?
Do you know the Great Barrier Reef?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's 80% dead.
Yeah.
It's 80% dead.
All right.
That's no good.
So that gets me mad because of the amount of donations that went to the Notre Dame thing. Like it was so much money that money could have actually cleaned up our coral reef. our ocean. That money could have
Yeah.
gone to that, and it would have worked. Like there's literally like I forgot what the actual dollar amount is, but there was a dollar amount, and it was pretty damn close to how much
Swimming in it.
they received for that, for the Notre Dame thing.
Yeah, just to fund somebody to actually go around with the boat.
$400 million,
Clean up the
I
ocean.
think. With the millionaires within the first 3 days raised $400 million for Notre Dame.
And yet we can't pay to like do this.
Well,
like,
that's just
like also we also have the oil spills that happen that are still going on to this day. And we just stop paying attention to it because the news cycle is just moving on to the next problem, when we should be focusing on like how can we actually fix this?
all
I
of it at
think
once.
I have
Yeah,
I
it's
have
like that
very
weird.
I have
convergence.
very pessimistic opinions regarding this topic, but I still feel like I should attempt to share.
What do you think?
Man, if
It's called the Great
if
Pacific Garbage Patch.
if humans don't realize the impact of their decisions regarding single-use plastics and a lot of other things within the next 25 years, there will be a global crisis in which either global warming will hit a limit and a lot of creatures will die because if the surface area or if the Earth rises in average temperature by 5%, we're killing away vast majority of the wildlife that are just going to be gone. And we need those things to live. So if we can't really get our shit together, I don't have a very bright outlook for like 80, 100 years.
I think.
But music though.
Ooh,
We have a
Uber
special
Eats.
guest.
Have a guest,
Thanks for our ads.
but we don't know who.
Uber Eats is
Are you
here.
guys doing a podcast?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Totally.
Yes. And what's the gift
A
from
word
our
from our sponsor.
first neighbor?
In the words of an old commercial, abre la puerta es Domino's.
So yeah, there's a Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and there's actually a smaller one in the Eastern Ocean,
I
the
see.
Atlantic. It's called the Great Atlantic Garbage Patch. Like the
All
fact
right,
that we
we're gonna
have
have multiple-
that is
I know.
insane.
But there's hope. There's
Yeah.
still hope. We can still make
Yeah.
changes. We can force companies to do something by. All right, the U.S. We're a capitalist nation. We can decide who gets our money and who does not. That is how we decide which companies survive.
Wow.
Right now, we have a bigger say, and honestly, real talk, companies are going to change because they see they can profit off of it.
Yes.
If they can profit off fixing, our problems, like let's make them do it. Let's make them take a bigger stance. Let them put it into advertisement, talk about it some more, and let's make laws. Let's do something different. Because doing nothing or saying that we cannot fix it guarantees that nothing's gonna get fixed.
Politicians have too much money. And that won't happen.
Politicians are being paid by these organizations, these companies. Like I said, like the whole water bottle thing happened because lobbyists pushed it to happen because they saw money in it, and we paid into it.
True. We should bottle some air, sell that, dude. People would buy it.
People are already doing it in England.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Are you serious?
I swear. Dude.
It's pretty bad. So like,
How do you even take it? Like you just.
They just go like this. They have videos of them taking the jar
Wow.
and then capping it.
so bringing it back to music, like
Gosh.
let's just to end this off, support artists that are making a change, that aren't just focusing on profiting off their music, but also making a real difference. And same thing with companies, because we are more power than we believe.
True.
And I think that's a great way of ending this
Yeah.
specific podcast. Same thing for the gelling system. We can make a difference by giving a crap.
Dude,
We can
straight up.
do something
Yeah,
about it. We
that's
can
very
talk
true.
about it, bring it up into the open.
That's right. Next time you listen to that mumble bedroom pop crap that's on the radio nowadays, ask yourself,
What
is that
those
artist
kids are
actually
listening
recycling? Did he even go to prison? Just kidding.
Boy, Pablo, more like, boy, get your ass up and clean up your trash from the trash can and put it in a recycle bin.
Turn the light off when you leave the room.
And recycle, goddammit.
But yeah.
I think that might be it. If we are to do like a little closing segment, I just want to say thank you all for listening and yeah, I'm really glad you've stuck with us and how we proceeded to relate music to a lot of other things. But yes,
Yeah, thanks for experiencing this with us. It's a special thing.
And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If there's any topics you feel like we should talk about, put it in the comments. Like, if you have any music, feel free to even put it on there. Like, we're always excited to listen to new music. If you are an artist and you believe that your music should be shared, like, send it there too.
oh yes,
Like,
we have an email, and if you want to look it up, if anybody's listening, and we create some sort of prompt, it would be thehubpodcastshow@gmail.com. That is,
and it will be
that is
written
us.
in the description as well.
thehubpodcastshow@gmail.com.
that is it.
All right.
So yes,
Yeah.
thanks for watching.
Outro. Audi. 5 pounds.